Please welcome California Controller Betty Yee.
Welcome to the AAPI Democratic Presidential Forum. My name is Betty Yee, and I am the California State Controller. And in this capacity, I am California's independent fiscal watchdog and auditor, and I have responsibilities for managing the state's cash. I pay the bills for the state of California, issuing payroll for over 250,000 state employees, including our employees of our precious California state universities, and also have the opportunity of serving on over 70 boards and financing authorities with jurisdiction over tax policy, environmental policy, and pension benefits for our educators and public sector workforce. I am humbled and excited to be here with you today at this historic event. The first time the AAPI community is hosting a National Democratic Presidential Forum. But today is not about me. It is about each and every one of you in this audience. Today is about how each of us is here and why we are here and where we're going after we hear from some of our presidential candidates today. Now, to many, I am the least likely to be serving as one of California's statewide constitutional officers. I grew up poor, the second oldest of 6 children to immigrant parents from Guangdong Province, China. My parents ran a laundry and dry cleaning business in San Francisco, and of course, their children were the trusted employees. I handled the financial transactions for my family business, waiting on customers, negotiating with vendors, the banking, filing tax returns. But at the age of 13, I was tasked by the 4 Chinese American families, non-English fluent families in my neighborhood, to speak before the San Francisco School Board about its busing program that would affect my younger sister. Not because the families were opposed to the goals of the busing program, but because these families were small business owners, working 6 or 7 days a week, and weren't drivers, didn't own cars, and would have to shut down their business and be on public transportation for well over 2 hours to pick up their children should an emergency arise at their school. I dutifully made this statement on their behalf, and the busing program lasted the better part of the next 3 decades. And actually, that was a little bit of a defeat for our families because nothing happened. My sister was fine. But I carry this experience with me still today because I was a voice for someone. I stood up for someone. And that was really the defining moment of the start of my public life. And so yes, it can happen. That within a generation that my 96-year-old mother, still living in San Francisco, could see her daughter rise from keeping the books for the family business to now minding the store for the 5th largest economy in the world. But I need to tell you that political engagement and participation and activism come in many forms. Whether you're simply an informed voter, whether you're active with your local school district or municipality, whether you belong to a union and advocating for your working brothers and sisters, or perhaps you have aspirations to run for office one day. After this weekend's AAPI Summit and Forum, we want each of you to help us mobilize the AAPI community as a voting community, to effect change at the community level, at the broadest policy level, all for the purpose of advancing our AAPI community and all communities. Now let's hear from a few of you in the audience. I know many of you, if not each and every one of you, sometime in your life stood up for someone. I know each of you are active in your communities because you want to make change. And I know there are many of you in this audience who have aspirations to run for office. So I would like to hear from some of you. Let me come down. All right. Now, this can be something as personal as what I just shared about my family, but tell us about a time when you stood up for someone.
Okay. My name is Jocelyn Diago Rosenthal, and I'm here, didn't fly from Atlanta, Georgia, but I did ride the bus from historic Filipino in downtown LA. And I reversed it a little bit because I want to share a story. When I was about 20 years old, I was riding the bus and I complained to my mom. I said, you know, I got late to school because that older person the bus driver was waiting and I couldn't, and she said, she looked me straight in the eye, my immigrant mother. Just think, my dear, if you were that older person, wouldn't you want the bus driver to wait for you? And so she was my role model. She stood up for senior citizens. I want to share that story.
Thank you. So you can see that inspiration for political activism and certainly the work that we're all doing collectively as a community can come from all sources. And so, now I know there are many who have aspirations to run for office. Let's see some hands about those who want to serve our community more broadly. Aha. Okay, sir. Please tell us what inspired you to look at serving in office.
Well, first of all, my name is Jimmy Monteclaro. I'm an attorney and a Filipino-American immigrant advocate. I am in my 70s, and I'm in last quarter of my life. But what motivated me to run for office in Carson as a councilman is my motivation to give back to the people of Carson. I got 8 kids, and they are products of Carson. And one of them, and we are an organic little mini, I can say, international family. My first is married to a Mexican. My second is married to a Chinese. My third has a boyfriend from France. My fourth is married to a Caucasian American. My fifth, let me count the ways. Okay, my fifth African American boyfriend. My sixth is still single and looking for it. My seventh has just been married this August, a beautiful, tall African American. And young happily have a girlfriend-boyfriend relationship from Japan. She is a Japanese American. I told them, how come there's no Filipino? And I said, you know, Dad, you are Filipino, Mom is Filipino, we are all Filipino. So, I hope I'll be a good service to the good people of Carson.
Thank you, thank you. I am so thrilled to see so many young people in the audience because I always think it's the maturity of a community when we can certainly embrace and incorporate the younger members of our communities into the work that we do as a community. So let me hear from one of our young people. Mark?
Hello everyone, my name is Mark Paredes. I guess Well, one of the things, I guess, the question was, what inspired me to go into public service? I think it's the idea and thought that somebody believed enough in me and gave me an opportunity to go into a program to teach me how to run a political campaign, to get involved in my community. Somebody invested time and energy on me. And so when that was given to me, I felt the sense of responsibility to give back. I think that's the important thing that we have to remember, that when something is given to you, you have to share that with others. Because we were blessed to be here today. There's a lot of other people that couldn't be here, whether because they're working, whether they're struggling, or they're out in the streets. We're fortunate. So what we can do is, if we're able to help others and bring them up, so when we get to the top of the mountaintop, we're not there standing by ourselves, but we're standing with a community. So thank you guys.
Thank you so much for those who shared. Let me just say that, we've got one more inspiring them leader, please.
Hi, my name is Shri Preston Kulkarni, and you can follow us on Twitter at Shri P. Kulkarni or Shri for Congress 2020 on Facebook and Instagram. I was a Foreign Service officer for almost 15 years. I served in places like Iraq, Israel, Russia, Taiwan. You always say Taiwan, right, Mom? And I was proud to serve America abroad because America is as diverse as this room. And I was extremely proud to represent my country. But right now, what's happening in this country, the demonization of immigrants of all kinds, of Chinese Americans, having somebody with my name murdered a month after the inauguration, a call for banning all Muslims in this country. Those are things that I could not represent any longer abroad. So that's why I came back. And when I started, people said, don't reach out to the AAPI community. Don't bother with them because and I said, maybe they don't vote because we don't bother. So we ran the first campaign in the country in 15 languages. And the result was that we got 37,000 new people to show up in November. We cut the margin from 35% to 4.9%. Our Republican incumbent, sixth-term incumbent, withdrew from the race, and now I'm the front runner for this Republican gerrymandered seat in Texas. So that's what we're doing. I'm going to be the first ever Asian American elected in the state of Texas to U.S. Congress. Thank you.
Thank you, Shri, very much. So, the lesson here, actually it's not even a lesson, but I hope we all are inspired that when we leave this weekend's activities, the AAPI community will not be taken for granted. We have so much to offer, the richness of our histories, the richness of our journeys, and so I want to just end with a call to action. I'm going to up the ante from Brad a little bit, because I happen to be a numbers person, so number 9 carries a lot of symbolism in a lot of API cultures, symbolizing longevity. This is not just about 2020. We are in this for the long game. This is about the full integration of the AAPI community into our democracy. In terms of voting, in terms of our activism and participation, in terms of electing people who represent us and look like us. And so when I look at the number 9, I think each of us, our family members, our neighbors, our friends, our co-workers, please engage 9 of them who are sitting on the sidelines now. Nobody ought to be sitting on the sidelines in 2020. Because remember, and as Shri eloquently put it, our democracy is under threat. It is under threat. Our Constitution is being toppled as we speak each day. And we can do something about that. So I think about the number 9, and so we leave here, think about those 9 people in your lives that you are going to do everything in your power to be sure they are not sitting on the sidelines in 2020 and beyond. Because I just want to remind all of us, you know this, the strength of our democracy is only as strong as the ability and the willingness of each and every one of us to participate in it. And when we vote, we get everyone to vote. We may be casting a vote and thinking that we are making personal decisions about what to support and who to support. But that vote represents a voice for so many who are not able to vote. Our children, many of our immigrant brothers and sisters, our elderly loved ones, babies sick, or just unable to vote. and so many others who maybe are just squeezed so much day to day that they can't even think about voting because they're trying to figure out how to put food on the table. This is what our vote means. This is what our activism means. And when I know that we can lift out the AAPI community, all communities will be lifted. Thank you so much for being here this weekend.